Most welcome to Historiespanarna History Reconnaissance, and the second video in our series, Last Stands of World War II. In these battles, men were fighting against all odds, sometimes making a difference with their sacrifice, or just achieving nothing more than a beau geste. These men were fighting for a cause, for the country, or just caught in the maelstrom of war. This time, we go back to August 1945, and what has been called the Eastern Maginot Line, the Japanese Hutou Forts in Manchuria, or rather Manchuko, the puppet state of the Empire of Japan. This battle started after the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and is said to be the last battle of World War II. And please, subscribe to our channel, get notified of upcoming videos. And we have also published 189 videos prior to this one. Japan had begun construction of fortified positions at Hutou in 1933, in part because the Soviets had erected fortifications of their own at Iman, across the Usuri River from Hutou. It took the Japanese army 6 years, 1937 to 43, to build the fort. More than 100,000 people were forced to work on the project, most of whom were peasants or war prisoners from northeast China. Many of them died during and directly after the project was completed. The Soviet trans-siberian railroad came within 11 miles of Hutou, and in order to be able to interdict the railroad, the Japanese in 1942 installed a 40-centimeter howitzer in great secrecy that could lob a 1-ton shell 13 miles. This was supplemented with a railroad gun with a range of 30 miles in 1943. The Soviet invasion of Manchuria, formerly known as the Manchurian Strategic Offensive Operation, began on August 9, 1945, with a Soviet attack on the Japanese puppet state of Manchuko. It was the largest campaign of the 1945 Soviet-Japanese War. The invasion began exactly 3 months after the German surrender on May 8th. The Soviets had managed to conceal the build-up of a force of 90 divisions. Many Soviet units had crossed Siberia in their vehicles to avoid straining the rail link. To man the fortifications, the Japanese assigned a 4th Border Guard unit, 7,000 personnel organized into 4 infantry battalions, 1 artillery regiment and 1 engineer battalion. The completed Hutou forts had above-ground entrances, exits, observation posts, artillery and machine gun apertures, sally ports for local counterattacks, and weather observation posts. Underground was the communication system, living quarters, bath, water and supplies, generators, communications and provisions. 3-meter thick concrete protected the key sections. The Hutou Fortress and the extensive Japanese fortification system in eastern Manchuria resembled a Manchurian Maginot Line. Like the Maginot Line planners, the Japanese did not expect the forts to hold back an enemy attack. Instead, the defenders would hold their positions and subsequently threaten the rear of the hostile invader, while friendly mobile forces prepared to counterattack. Also, like the Maginot Line concept, the Japanese Manchurian defense designers assumed that certain types of terrain were impossible by large numbers of troops and equipment. Such thinking characterized Japanese defense concepts. On August 9, 1945, the attack on Hutou, situated on the border river, began. There were no massed frontal assaults or wave-type attacks. Soviet infantrymen flanked, enveloped, encircled, isolated, and then destroyed Japanese strongpoints. Even when the Japanese Emperor Hirohito declared the unconditional surrender of Japanese troops on August 15, 1945, around 1,500 Japanese soldiers, partly due to a breakdown of communications, continued to occupy the fort and fought stubbornly against the joint armies of China and the Soviet Union. During the 17th, the Soviets brought up 2 batteries of 203mm guns to help reduce the fortified positions by direct fire. Only on August 22nd, following still more airstrikes and artillery barrages, did the 109th Fortified Region finally declare that it had seized the center of Japanese resistance. After 17 days of intense fighting, 1,380 Japanese soldiers were killed and only 53 captured. More than 600 relatives of the Japanese officers and soldiers also died during the war. Statistics from Russian war records show that 1,490 soldiers of the Soviet Union Far East Army died in the battle.
That's all, folks. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.